Hey, thanks for tuning in for this week's hack and play. On Fridays I do different things. So I call it a hack and play. And this week I'm going to work on Drupal commerce and some layout builder bugs. If you're not familiar with layout builder, it is a module in Drupal that lets you take a piece of content and then have a layout and drag and drop things and create a custom page. Last fall, I worked on getting integration with Layout Builder for the products in Drupal Commerce, and there's been some bug reports cropping up, and three things that I want to tackle today. One is that the product variation context, this is how we allow you to embed product variation fields into the parent product, is causing sample images to generate. Apparently this person's having like hundreds of images be generated. Even if show content preview is disabled. So in Layout Builder, you can have a different, you can actually preview sample field items. So that's a pretty big bug I want to look into. And also that we can't render extra fields. This is a Drupalism where you can do hook extra entity, you can do hook extra fields. And these are items to be displayed that aren't necessarily fields in the system. And then dummy orphan paragraphs are generated when adding a product. This sounds like it's tied into this first one, but we're going to dive in and check them all out and try to fix up some bugs. So let's get into the issues. I already have some of them open. I want to look at this dummy orphans are added. Actually, let me organize. So this extra fields feels like a bonus. I'm going to create an issue tab or tab real quick for these issues. So this feels like a bonus if we can get it to work. This sounds like a really bad problem. So what they're, in the case that they're experiencing, is generating 2 to 3 images per image field. They have a lot of image fields. So it's creating 20 images on page load. And if you're using Fly System to integrate with S3, so using remote file storage, that's kind of a pain. The problem they had is temporary files up to 100 get deleted on cron run. So it's not the end of the world, but it sounds like it's a a pretty big inconvenience. And then dummy orphan paragraphs are generated when adding a product rather. So we've discovered that they're generated when going to product, add my product, because variations are creating sample variations. Could you please let me know what purpose this has? I'm actually really excited that they gave a whole bunch of details. So let's triage this. So right here, I see a problem where it shouldn't be running on product, add my product. Actually going to reopen this. So Jonathan, thanks for reopening. This is a problem of its own. We generate a sample variation for a win using the default layout manager. This shouldn't be happening when adding a new product. Definitely a big bug. And so let's walk through on how this is being created. I'm actually going to bump this to major because that's that's actually really bad. So I'm going to go ahead and save. Actually, I'm going to say thanks for the backtrace. Super helpful. Because again, the more information you can give a maintainer, the more we can help solve your problems. So let's go ahead and get the site set up. So I'm going to collapse the issue tab. So if you haven't used tabs inside Chromium browsers, Brave now has it. Obviously it was in Chrome first, but it's something built into Chromium. Brave had it like a few weeks later. It's nice because I can group things up and collapse them so I can just kind of focus on what I need to. So let's go to extend. And I need to turn on Layout Builder because I haven't yet for this environment. It's a fresh install. Let's look for Layout Builder. And I know it's going to want Layout Discovery. So to save the warning about dependencies, I'll make sure to click that. And we'll get this configured up. And while we get there, let's see, I'll close this. Let's go find the commerce module. So we're inside commerce. and it's inside the product module. And let's go to source, context provider. We have this product variation context, and it's doing several things. Like this wonderful to do at the top that I never flushed out. So if we look into this code, it creates it. What we need it to do is make Drupal aware of the product variation entity at runtime. And what probably needs to, so we have here where it checks value, and if the value is in the route, it creates that with the value. If it's not in the route, we check if there's a product in the route and we load the value from context. Otherwise, if the product's not there, we check if the product type is in the route match. We load the product type and we create with samples. So this is problem area. We should only generate samples if we're inside of layout builder and the default layout. So this is the problem that we're having right here. And it's annoying that it's to do, oh, because it wants me to do whatever. So this is our main problem area. Simplify this logic once entity target. So this is inside of something. I can't remember why this is here. I think this is when we're inside a different route. So we can see route match name, layout builder. So I wonder if we can just drop this bundle check and rely on if it's a layout builder route. So let's go back. We enabled layout builder. Let's start testing this. Product variation, product types. We want to manage the display. The hard part is going to be, will be testing this. I don't know how we're going to test this very easily. So let's go to, we'll start with the simple. Actually, no, it's about variations. Let's go to clothing, as I know this has multiple variations. We'll do manage display. And we're going to turn on layout builder. And we're going to allow each product to have its layout customized so we can test this all around. Now, like I said, this was to handle when we don't have an actual product available. So the idea is to create like a mock variation for the context. Actually, is this all in the same time? We just had a bug fix in here. So 9.18.20. I feel like we recently had some kind of bug fix that went in here that adjusted this. Is it maybe it was on the product route context. 1 second. I want to try to see. Oh, yep, 620. Maybe not. I feel like this was something that we fixed that got a patch created in the few months ago. So before I get too far into it, I want to see what it is that I worked on. So assigned followers. Let's find things that I'm following and search by last updated. Oh, this is going to be fun to try to find out. It was more than a week ago. Add payment logging. When view catalog, that's not it. Layout builder. Okay, here it is. We had bugs when using layout builder and there was no variation. It was crashing. So let's look at this merge request. Actually go back and actually click on the merge. Or rather, let's look at the commit. There we go. Product variation context. So I know I made a change. So get parameter, that's the code up here. So product variation context. It seems that my local branch is out of date. Let's do a git remote v. My origin still pointed to my GitHub fork, which is completely dead. So let me do a not of the upstream, because so this repo is so old. This entire environment's about 5 or 6 years old, and this repo is set up from when we had to do development on GitHub because Drupal.org couldn't test Drupal 8 projects, at least not ones with Composer. So let me rebase against 8.x2. Oh, cannot rebase. So let me do a stash. I should just fix this and redo it, but all right. So we're there. I have a feeling my pop is going to conflict. And it did. Oh, okay. Get status. How do I get restore staged? All right. So it's somewhere in here. Let's read. This is new too. Oh, so Jonathan even made a commit on 6.7. Core breadcrumb builder, or the core breadcrumb builder might lead to fatal PHP error. Is Scholar. So if is there a test for this? There's no test. It's just is this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on Xdebug, and we're just going to step through this right away and see where we can get. So I'm going to close this and manage display. So the intent of this original code, where we check if the value is null and we get the route match from the product, or rather outside products, like this product type. The idea is, let me make sure I have Xdebug on, that once you click manage layout, wait for it to kick over, that we hit this else if. Now what I think we need to do is change how this works. So product type, we have the loaded entity from the route match, and it creates this with sample values. So we get the value, which I'll show down here. Value is a product variation. In all the fields, like if we look at SKU, list, and values, it has a random name. Actually, this might be a bad thing because it has a random product reference, but we can hit play. So if we go to this landing page, or the layout manage page, oh, so it runs twice. That also can lead to a bunch of duplicates if you have sample images, which we do. Products have a sample image. So to show like why we have the samples, there's a show content preview, which unfortunately is a client-side thing. So it's not going to make a difference if this is checked or not. That's one reason I'm punting on this, because I know that show content preview is client-side. Maybe I don't know where it's actually stored. It might be, let's check local storage. Yep, local storage Drupal layout builder content preview.1. You can see here it toggles true or false. So we cannot detect that on the server. So we'll go for the easier one where this is running when it shouldn't. But as an example, we'll toggle the content preview. We're going to click add block. Oh, that's an old breakpoint. I'm actually going to mute breakpoints for right now. I know that's going to come bite me as I forget about it. So let's look at, oh, why is this? Product variations, product variation fields. Why does it only have a handful? There should be more that show up, and the entire UI is kind of broken. I know this is a problem when using Belgrade, the demo theme. So one second, I'm going to change the default theme to be the not pretty one. And let's go back to Bartik and see if we can get that to work in. So what I wonder we can do is ditch this else if, and maybe we just never have to run this else if. I wish I could remember why I needed to add this in. It's from the initial work, and it feels like it is actually duplicated down here when we're inside Layout Builder. Let's go back to appearance. I want to look at files really quick to see if we did generate a bunch of random image references, which we did. That's what this generate image shows up as. So I bet if we go back to configuration, products, product types, and we go to manage the layout for clothing, manage display, manage layout, I muted the breakpoints so it should load up. Let's see, we have 3 right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5. So we do have a test. I'm just going to make a note. We cannot check for, what's it called? Show content preview. Due to the fact it is client side local storage. I can confirm that generating sample values creates random files. We can create a baseline test for this at least. So we can make that baseline test. But the main thing I'm trying to go back through is show that we're creating like sample. We want this to still create some sample values for this layout when using show content preview. So let's go to product variation fields. So, you know, the main case here is like the SKU. You want to add the SKU in. So we're going to click SKU. Wait for it to load. And we'll just do inline, click add block. So you can see here that a generated value is created. We can do the same for a price. So that's why we have this code. So if you choose to have a preview value while editing the default layout, you can. Let's go back and we'll add price. We'll do inline again and we'll click add block. So there we get the price. Let's click save layout and see how many random images we have again. A lot. Holy, I bet every time that we, oh shoot, you know what? I feel like every time we hit the, gotta get back to it. Every time that we hit an Ajax request, I bet it is generating an image. So let's, maybe a fix could be here. We need to have the sample values to work, but the idea would be to not constantly generate temporary image values all the time. I feel like that's almost a bug in core, maybe that it continually creates sample image values. We'll see what we can do here. All right, so we've confirmed 2 of the bugs, or sorry, we've confirmed that this main bug of visiting the default layout generates a bunch of images. So let's see what happens when we go to add a product. Or actually, one second. I want to see the debug, unmute. So let's go, yeah, let's focus on this first one with adding a product. When you add a product, you should not receive a generated random value. So while we wait for that, I'm going to create an issue fork with that branch. Let's click add product. I've let my debug going. So generating temp images is not a bug. I'll show you what the bug is really quick. So right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is it generating GIFs too? And it is GIF. It is not GIF. It is a GIF. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's a lot. Maybe if I run cron. Let me just turn off xdebug really quick. So if I do ddev drush cron, those images should be cleaned up. And I'll show you why it's a bug. It's not the bug isn't the temporary image creation. It's how many are created. So if I refresh this should have them cleaned up. It's not yet. All right. Well, we know that this is the last one right here. So if I go to, I'm going to open a scratch for that. So if I go to edit layout, let's see, I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to click add block. Yes, they will be cleaned up after 6 hours, but what if you're using fly system in S3 and it's constantly writing to, well, actually, they're still saved to site's default files. So what if you're using fly system in S3, you're generating a lot of fields. And in the case of this one user, they said it was causing 20 images to load the layout builder. And it is a severely poor experience when trying to create products. So like, I get where it's like, oh, it's not too bad, but it kind of is. So let's click size. So we added the size in here, and let's click save layout. So I'm going to go look back for this file, right? So it was right here. Let's refresh the page. So in just adding those few blocks, we created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 random images that wasn't needed. And just in this little live stream, I've created this many by just clicking around. So like that's the bug. And that's what we want to try to solve, to reduce the number of random images. That's my goals. I want to reduce the amount of random images. So we'll tackle that once we get to that issue. The first thing I want to try to work on is preventing these from being generated when we add the product. So when I go to add product, let's turn xdebug back on because it should not run. And contexts are always gathered at runtime. What we should do actually, I think, is get available context. So we'll try this out. Unqualified. So we'll try something here. I don't know if anything actually really implements get available context correctly. Gets all the available context for the purpose of configuration. I feel like everything just always is a pass-through. Like nothing ever actually implements a useful example here from what I can tell. So node route. Get available context. Create from entity ID, node from the URL. Maybe that's a fix that we could add here. I don't think so because it's basically the same thing. Actually, ooh, you know what? This might be a bug fix all on its own. So get available context is always calling this generation of it. So I want to check something really quick. I wonder if we're smarter about this implementation, that we can fix always constantly generating values. So let's just even start with manage. I'm going to put a breakpoint at get available. Let's click manage layout. So this does get available at the lazy context, which we passed through to here. And again, so that's at least 2. And what that means is we just generated, oh, and here's another one. So 3. I bet we just generated 3 images due to that. Okay, we did just 1, so maybe there is code inside of Drupal that prevents like multiple random images from being generated. So I think that might be a fix. I think one of the fixes is having this get available context do something like from the node route context. And for intents and purposes, I'm going to just put this here as a note for myself. So let's go add a product. I know all these are really intertwined, but they are separate. So let's go to add product, clothing. So get runtime context. So I wonder if we should check the route match to see if we're adding a product here. But right now, on product add, and if we look at, if we were to go up into here, it's generating a sample value. So this is one thing that shouldn't happen. If we're adding a product, we shouldn't be generating sample values. But it didn't. And they're saying that it's creating sample ones. Let's try to reproduce. So we get the runtime context. Nothing ran. Is 309998 relevant? Let's find out. So drupal.org/i. This is a shortcut you can do. If you have a node ID, you can do /i/. This was added as part of the GitLab integration to create a shortcut because issues are prefixed with their layout builder incorrectly resolves global context when viewing layouts. Assumes it can get global context values and get available context. That means context providers that correctly adhere to currently do not resolve values when rendering layouts should call get runtime context on the result of get available, since by design the value is not intended to be added in get all available context. That sounds, so it happens the current language and current user incorrectly populate values in get available context, which likely leads to this unnoticed issue. That sounds like a very related issue. Thank you. So let's see here. That so happens do not incorrectly populate values in get available context. Context like no correctly implemented interface and could make work with layout builder. Currently this context also doesn't work properly because it doesn't set a default context value in the default layout. So it sounds like fixing, oh shoot. So it sounds like if I implement this fix, we reduce duplicate builds, but we'll break with layout builder. Because layout builder assumes that get available context will return some kind of actual value like it does in current language and current user. So that's extremely related to this. Shoot. I'm going to copy this here and I'm going to link it to Ghosty, do you have a Drupal.org username? Because I would love to add you as a to credit you for digging this up. Linking to linking. One of the fixes is to properly implement like, what is it? What's that one called? Like node route context. But it sounds like that could create bugs. Linking for later reference. Well, shoot. Yep, that sounds like a biggin. And when was this last touched on? 71. This last 21 hours ago. Great. It's not that old. That makes total sense. The fix looks good, except for if you maybe we'll get to some. We'll help push this core issue along. Yeah, maybe we'll work on that once I get to this add. So I want to try to reproduce this problem they were having when going to add. They were hitting product variation context. So get available context, context repository, entity convert. Why didn't I hit something here? xDebugs on. Thank you for that issue. That is extremely helpful, but also a bummer because that means we won't have the fix until 9.2.1, which some people are still on 8.9, but maybe it could get a backport to Drupal 8. We'll have to see. So we have a product, is null, and we're returning no value. So I wonder if this was fixed in is scholar. I never have any idea what this means whenever I read it. Like, what is a scholar? No more backporting to D8. Yeah, I had an assumption of that. All right, so I want to just quick step over this real quick again. So product is null. So if product. So why, I don't understand how they were hitting this bug. How old is it? It's brand new. Let's see. So product, if product is instance of product interface. So value is null, product. I feel like this might have been fixed. Go to product, add my product. System breadcrumb. Oh, you know what? Let's see here. Render, do trust system breadcrumb block build, easy breadcrumb builder. I wonder if it's due to easy breadcrumb builder. Let's see. I wasn't able to reproduce on the latest 8.x 2.x. This was committed on the 7th. I'm going to copy this. In the backtrace, I noticed easy breadcrumb builder. I wonder if fixed this. Have you tried on the latest 2.x or only on, I believe Commerce just got a release. I can't remember. So let's see, when was the last release? February. Nope, there's one coming out this week. That's it. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put as postpone. Maintainer needs more info because I do need more info. And let's try to add easy breadcrumb builder just to see. Or rather, page cache miss, blah, blah, blah. On view render rate. This is why it's always great to put in these like back traces, because this is amazing. Like I'm able to see where this all happened. So breadcrumb manager build. And it sounds like might lead to fatal PHP error. I feel like this might have fixed it. So let's go to breadcrumb manager and we want to go to build. Get sorted builders, which set route context from route match. Let's add yet another module into here. Composer require Drupal / easy breadcrumb, and make sure that we have breadcrumbs on this page. We do. And let's enable the module. We'll just do it in the UI. Or it's just going to take forever to load that page. So ddev drush, turn off the listener, enable, easy breadcrumb. And wait for it to turn on. So that'll be, so we didn't even get to this part where value was null and product was null. So if product, but it didn't even get the product type. That's where I'm so confused, because we should have hit this line. But I've got to wait for this to finish installing. All right, there we go. I'm assuming it's somewhere under configuration, and I'm going to turn back on my Xdebug listener and refresh this page and just step through. So value is null, product is null. So if product, we know product is null because we were creating a new product. Product, I hate when we do this like assigning inside of here. I know I did it, but I really dislike that because it's much harder to read in my opinion. So route match, get parameter, route matches, nothing there. Parameter name, commerce product type, this current route match. Route match. Return null. So we've got a null route match for the request. Ooh, if there's no matched route, what? So the router, route conversion, entity converter, convert, lazy. I wonder, oh man. That's actually like, so the fact that we're getting a null route match is because the route, the initial route match hasn't even been resolved. From my understanding of what just happened, because the param converter is being converted, so the route match hasn't even been settled yet. So context, we're inside entity converter. It's trying to find the converter. So you know what? We're going to click stop there, and we're going to implement this fix. And we're going to see what happens, because again, every time that this get available gets called, it's running code when it shouldn't be. So yeah, this has got to be fixed. I still don't know what branch I'm going to end up doing this on. So I've got things kind of in a mess. So return node entity from entity type ID. We'll say product variation from URL. Sure. We'll just say from product, from current product. So let's do that and refresh this page. What is the URI and request? I can go back and check, but I know the problem is that we were fetching from the route match before it was even settled. So this call to get available was being called inside entity. Oh, if I can type entity converter from the param converter, and was getting all of the available context, which is being passed to entity repository get canonical. So here, I'm gonna press here. So param converters are run while the route match is being considered, or while routing is still being considered. So basically, we were trying to fetch something from the route match before it was determined, which is why we get a no route match, which means that there's a chance for a race condition and that we could get fatal errors. So I'm going to do a refresh here to kind of step through. So we've got the available context. And we can see here that we have commerce product route context, and we have the variation route context. I don't know where the commerce product one's defined from. Something's defining it for us automatically. But this is the one that we were creating, and it was always calling the route match. So if we were to step in, not step over, I wanted to step into that. Let's refresh. And if you want to look at the request URI, this is empty. Server. So URI is product added clothing like we would expect. So if we step in, get canonical current from this canonical multiple entities. So if the site was multilingual, then it would use the context to figure out the current language and go through. So I think that right there is one major bug that would be fixed. So shoot, I don't know the best place to even put this right now. Easy breadcrumb builder, set context from route match. I added easy breadcrumb builder. Let's just see what goes in here. So set from route match, get request for path, which then ends up doing a whole lot of, oh my goodness. It ends up applying the route enhancers, which again calls the param converter, entity converter. Okay, so this is the fix for this issue. So I'm going to rename this to improperly implements. The problem is that is improperly implemented. Always returns a populated context value when it should be a stub. And really, this should probably not be running all the time. So if we click, I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Let's reload configuration. Like, this shouldn't be called. If it gets to there. Oh, probably because this is like a big page. Let's even just go to this form. No. Let's go to content. I want to see if I can trigger this get available context to run. Because that's the problem. Okay, about us. Get available context. This should return null if there's no if we're not in a valid route context. Because if I step through, if I step over, then we step over some more context. I guess the node one always does this too. It doesn't do any extra checks. I guess maybe it's not the end of the world because it's just always available. It's that one API that feels very raw and somewhat undefined. So let's hit play. So yeah, there's a lot of bugs because that means it was running even when converting parameters. Our context is running pretty, but there's no product type in the thing, so it didn't calculate. So I'm gonna go true, do a H2 original summary. We need to make sure. Just copy that. Let me make sure that product variation context properly and doesn't return a populated context value in get available context. All right, let's save. So I think this is like this might actually be a huge bug fix and maybe even performance fix. Sorry. So let's show commands. I want to add the issue fork. That's not the right terminal window. This is. Oh man, this site is so old. XHProf is how I used to profile things. Let's add this remote and check out the branch. And I could run the test locally. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll run the test locally real quick. Let's see. I'm going to close out a bunch of these tabs. We have the test. Where's the test? Source, functional JavaScript, product layout builder integration. So my main thing is I'm afraid that we broke the integration doing this. Maybe the easier way is to just refresh editing the layout. Guess what? We got a crash. Recent log messages. Context exception. Assigned context for not satisfied entity. Which probably is this core issue. So let's go to apply context mapping. Is it assign context or not satisfied? Let's go refresh and listen for xdebug. So mappings, route context, missing value is missing its value. yeah, so yeah, we're kind of shot in the foot in two different ways. One is if the entity repository is called during param conversion, shot in the foot, and we need it to be fixed this way. If it's layout builder, we're shot in the foot because we don't have a value, because it's not calling get runtime from these get available contexts. Yeah, it's context. Where does it get context from? This context down the rabbit hole to find out this get available context for the storage. Get available. It doesn't do get runtime. Or rather, it doesn't convert available to runtime. All right. So let's do a to do properly implement get available context once layout builder is fixed. I wonder if we could do I want to test something. So we're going to pass through here. Test is null. So what we could do is, all right, the hackiest workaround time. So if the route name is null, to do remove once is fixed, this is fixed. This handles when the context is called via get available context and the entity param converter while route negotiation is being handled. Wow. So this is like a hacky workaround that maybe will work. I'm going to link this as well. Thank you. I have lots of typos. I will fix it in a second. Linking to which prevents us from not having a hacky fix. Handle. Thank you. And thank you, PHP Storm, for having a spell checker in there that I kind of remember to look at. All right. So the idea is that We can't fix get available context because layout builder breaks with the null value because it never calls get runtime. And the core issue will land for 9.3 and maybe backported to 9.2, but not Drupal 8, which there's a lot of Drupal commerce sites still on Drupal 8. So we are doing a pre-flight check here to say if the route name is null, don't try to return the value. So entity converter, and let's see, I want to copy reference and say the available contexts are gathered and used in multilingual sites to determine the current language. I don't know if I need to add all that. All right, let's go back to here, and this should be clean. It didn't even catch. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. We don't want, it shouldn't even bother catching there because we're going through the entity param conversion, right? Param converter, entity converter. There's nothing there. Oh man, if this fixes so many bugs, I'll be so happy. Boom. So that there. Now if I go to the layout, we're here. And ran again and again. Yeah, that's one problem I found out too. Like breadcrumbs, like the breadcrumb builder can like cause a bunch of stuff to rerun. That's a different problem. I'm gonna even just refresh about us. So like this shouldn't be running, I feel like, because it's not valid. So I want to just step through. Again, get available context. It's showing the product one in all the language. This 8 is product route context. This probably should be fixed too. Although this one doesn't break. I don't know. Layout builder is fine except for in here. Yeah. There's a lot to untangle and these low-level APIs, which is always the fun part about being a Drupal commerce maintainer because everything you hit, you break. All right. So let's go ahead and commit this. I don't know how we can test it. I do know how we can test it. I think. It doesn't cause a crash. And I couldn't replicate the initial issue. But what we can do, if I can get to there, is tests. I could do a kernel test. Maybe. Let's see, node route context. Let's see how this gets tested. Probably absolutely nowhere. That's a functional test. Contextual filters, functional, but how does this load block? Block get visibility. Visibility yeah, it's there. Entity field block test, another functional test inside of Shoot, I really want to have a test for this, but while I keep debating this, let's at least get it running. Return stub context when finding available context. This is a pretty big hack to work around the fact layout builder does not properly invoke get runtime context, but assumes, I'm going to add a few more notes here because this is, I know I'll come back to this in a month even and be like, what? But assumes get available context will have populated values. Yeah, because get available should be like all available, and then get runtime should be the populated values, I think. Yeah, I can always watch my stream. Yeah, I can always go back because I can't remember when I went to the grocery store for, but in a year, I'm like, oh yeah, I did a live stream about that, and this is why we fixed it. All right, so let's do a push to that branch. Commerce, yep. Push it. Go back here. Let's open the merge request. I'm gonna refresh the issue. And see if we can get, if it says anything about Drupal CI. Okay, so Drupal CI is going to run. It's queuing. I want to try busting out an old tool of mine that I need to maintain, the Drupal org CI. Like, this is back when everybody was using Travis CI to watch jobs because Drupal CI wasn't really running. So Drupal CI watch, and we'll give it the job ID. All right, so it's going to basically wait for the job to finish, and we'll get a little notification, or should get a notification. Because I'm pretty sure I have do not disturb turned on, so we'll wait and see for that. In the meantime, I want to try to write a test. And we should be able to do it with a kernel test. Although it feels kind of, I just hate the magicalness in all this, that there's no kernel test base. So I would do a kernel test because I don't know how to test this with side effects. Like, I don't know how to test this side effect at all inside of a functional test. Like, I guess I could make a page that prints the available context when you're viewing a product, but basically we need to have the param converter run and verify that we get back a nil value runtime context and not a generated value. Or rather that we get back a entity context than a regular context. Yeah. Create a block with context and a functional test. But that won't necessarily, I don't think that would work because we need to actually have the param converter run. I guess param converter would run when you place a block. Maybe. Possibly. Just real quick, entity context definition from entity type. All right. I want to see if we can also clean up how we define things right here. So we should be able to standardize this to just call that entity context from entity. Although it wants there to be a value. So let's not even try to be fancy here and bloat the scope. Sorry, my brain, I'm trying to think about the way I want to go forward with testing this. And maybe there's just no test that we can do. Sometimes that's just the case because it's not running anything. Since I still don't know how I could do it properly in a functional test, even with placing a block. So if commerce product has an entity reference to a custom translatable entity that has its translation overview under product passed by the breadcrumb builder when testing route candidates is just a product ID as a string and not the loaded entity. So why not do is string here like we do down here? Oh, this thing is just such a mess. Okay. I'm going to see. I'm going to bounce back over to this one now with generating all the random images and see if it helped. Let's go to content, files. Come on, load. And I wish there like a bulk edit, delete. Oh, and it's got aggregation on it too, so this will probably be a nightmare. Some file usage. I'm not even going to try to deal with that. So that's the snapshot. I'm gonna leave that as like the snapshot. Let's go ahead and I'll drop a breakpoint here. We'll see. Let's reload the page. So we got it once. So that's an improvement that it hit once. And if I reload this page, XCLR RSV. So we had 2 images generated. And I want to try to get that to be none. So if we do product variation storage, create with sample values, we do there, drop a breakpoint there. And again here. The reason why we have it 2 is if it's the default section storage, this page is the default. If we were viewing a product and customizing it, that's the override storage. So I would assume that we're going to be hitting line 118. If I remove that breakpoint, we hit line 106. So we hit line 106. But do we again we have 1 image created? Okay. And then if I were to click on add block, now we're at line 118 because we're inside default section, create with sample values, choose block, and we'll have another image created, I bet. Yeah. And add the list price. again. All right, so, and we need it to be generated in here. So I wonder if, let's click add block, because it doesn't need to have sample values inside of this instance. It just needs to have a non-null value. So let's look at this route match, route matches, storage, this one, info, route name is layout builder add block. So I wonder if we can just do a, oh no, not subform state. Oh, jeez. And then it goes again inside of here because it's building the form as part of the submit. And now on the page view. And again. All right. So actually, I wonder this override should never hit because we're always overriding a value. How many images did this create? A lot, just in editing that. That's still running. So I wonder, let's try changing this to be just create, which is what they've proposed. So they did it for everything, and that's why it failed. But I want to just change it when we're inside of this route match. Where else is this used? Or is this just an issue that I think Tim Plunkett made this after I brought up the layout builder integration for Drupal Commerce? I think he opened this. Nope, I opened it. Maybe in discussions with him. Yep, copying from Slack. Needs work. What is a targeted entity? And then it died. All right. So maybe that's something I need to get back on. The thing is that, so we do create, let's do create, because I think we only hit these in Ajax calls. We only need the default value when we're loading this random page, because if I did, let's change this to create all across the board. So if we refresh this, we're not going to see any value inside SKU. So, or we're going to get a white screen of death. Argument 1 passed to must be of type array string given. Oh, because, yeah. That's not how it works. So let's do this. We're going to say type there. And I'm going to place it down here. Well, actually, those didn't even crash. And we'll do that. Let's refresh the page. So yeah, so now we're here. We're just creating a type. And we should just see that SKU has no value. And this is the other bug. When you have show content preview available, it can make it near impossible to manage the blocks if they have no value. So that's why we need to have this create with sample values. So let's try changing it to here. Let's refresh. Create with sample values. If we turn on the show content preview, we've got this stuff again. And I bet if we run through let's see. How do I have my test running here? PHP unit. Yeah, with everything local. So let's try. So PHP-S, tweb. Let's get Chrome driver running on my local. And where's the test? Let's see. Test field injection. Nope. Test enabling layout builder for display disables field injection. We want test without variations. Test configuring. Test field injection over. Create from entity. 1 second. Configure default layout. Okay. Let's test this first one. Just configures running the default value. Interpreter, fix the interpreter. I've been having to bounce back between PHP 7.4 and PHP 8 locally. So PHP Storm gets confused every time I use Homebrew, unlink, and link of PHP. All right, we'll let this run. See if this finished testing or not. It didn't. My local thing is still correct. All right. This patch fixed the exactly the same issue on here. This, strange dummy data of paragraphs attached to content. I just want this to run. Because I think we should be okay if we don't generate full values inside of the Ajax requests. In the same way that we may not need to, I wonder if this was just added as a nice to have. Like, I don't know if we need to provide a sample value when we only have the bundle. Yes, we do, because that's exactly what happens when we manage the default layout. Or not. Well, the route name. Yep. Maybe we could just move it inside of here. Still running the install. So one idea is we could ditch this and only run it inside of Layout Builder entirely. Let's see. If I refresh that, my computer's going to hate me right now because I have so much happening at once. So route match, storage, info, route name, layout builder, defaults, commerce product view. So we could have this only run on this route and not anytime there's just a product type in the URL, because there should be no other reason we need to run this. If we look at the terminal, it's probably going to crash because it doesn't like running without the second cd web php-s. You have to use with Drupal's built-in router. So let's click run again. Let's see if this came back. Still running. All right. So I'm hitting some major brain fatigue right now. So if there's a product from the route match, we do this. All right. You know what? And I feel like breadcrumb builder, when testing the route, is just a product ID, not the loaded entity. Path-based breadcrumb builder. I bet we could remove a whole bunch. Get request for path. Router match request. I bet we could delete all of this code right here. As well, I just wish there's a step to reproduce it. Actually, I think this fix would be the proper fix for as well. And there's no test. I want to see if they have another one. Sorry, I know I keep jumping between, but they're just so correlated. This was back in February is opened. So if commerce product has an entity reference to a custom translated entity, runs into an error in case the custom entity is named that. Product variation storage load from context must implement interface. Stack trace. Yeah. Param converter. Exactly it. Yep. Because it path based. Apply route enhancers. Yep. One failure. The text was not anywhere on the page. All right, so something broke along the way. I'm going to undo these. Roll back this. Well, working on that, I think the root issue is due to how the context provider is implemented. Whenever entity parameter param conversion occurred, the full runtime context value was evaluated when only a stub should have been returned. Relates to working on a fuller fix, which would, it's going to revert the changes made here, but have a more complete fix. All right. So the only reason I'm commenting on here is I want to get Marcus to have an idea and test the other issue. All right. So commented there. Forgot to mark this as needs review. All right. We need to delete that. We need to revert this commit. Let's see. Can I just do... No, not close annotations. Let's copy the revision. Just stop that. 403p forbidden. Oh wait, that means the test ran, but I need to update my API calls. let's see if we do git revert. Oh, sweet. All right. So yeah, so right here, so the fact that the parameter wasn't converted and that it was a, let me make it, I'm going to edit. I'm going to try to be more clear. Given that this returned an ID and not an upcasted parameter, shows it was running out of step. The route match hadn't been fully populated or calculated. Where's that stack trace? See the relevant bits here in the backtrace. The problem is at get available context. All right. Well, I feel a little bit better now. If this gets everything to work and reverts some of the code there, it passed. Product type, this product variation storage. Again, why would... Oh yeah, because here, if there's nothing from the context, we create a base value, which was added for empty variations. So when there's an empty variation, we don't generate a sample value. So let's push this. I'm going to not bother messaging Jonathan because I'll catch up with him on Monday. So we can close this. We refresh. All right, so that's going to queue. Reverted the one, commit. All right. So we're there. We still have this fun issue with this. Let's try update. I'm going to update this to go against the DDev site. Oh, but then I got to reconfigure everything. Do I have Chrome driver in here? I do. All right. But I don't feel like running the entire thing. All right. You gotta collect my thoughts. I'm afraid to... I feel like we need this to fully work on this duplicate images, because that's half the problem. Half the problem is that we were generating random values too many times. What we can do is, I always wondered what uses the key value content entity storage. Nothing does. Sorry, again, random content entity storage base. I'm pretty sure that there's a way to skip certain fields. Forbidden keys. Okay, you can't. So should never have a sample generated for them. I feel like I walked through this before. Path alias storage. This just sets that to be there. So not the revision key, not the bundle. Generate sample items. And if we look at generate sample value, field item base, price item. Where do we have item base, comment item, text, decimal, email, entity reference item, entity reference selection, the entity type, bundle, get random bundle, entity storage crate with sample entities, recursion tracker. So that's where the image ends up creating this. Static get random bundle. Oh shoot, no man, I lost it. Entity reference item. I'm gonna drop a breakpoint here. Image item. Oh, here we go. Image item. All right. Drop a breakpoint there. I'm just gonna refresh this. So we're in the product variation context, storage, field item list, image. I wish there's a way that we could prevent it from creating multiple images. We can see here it has a static image cache. So if I hit play, and the static image cache right here is what was preventing a whole bunch of extra duplicates from running. Because it would catch the minimum and maximum resolution here. I wish we could just get it to reuse existing images that match. Match that. I wonder if there's a core issue for that too. Images. Image sample value. No idea if it returns anything. Add auto orientation, add alt, switching file storage. Improve, generate sample image value for common field types. Bum. Yeah, I don't see anything good from there that could help out. Let's go back to all right, I'm going to go back to my idea here where we're going to do create, specified type is that, and let's just try creating a product. Okay, created a sample image when viewing the default layout, which one problem is if I hit click configure and I click update, that's unexpected. It all cleared out. So if I click configure, so we get, oh, you know what? Okay. So if I click update here, we're in a layout URL. So yeah, we need to catch all the Ajax events because this is updating the form. We press play. And I bet if we look at the route match, we look at the current URL, the storage, info, route name, update block, it's going to return the Ajax response. And that is what gets returned. That's what gets returned here. What we could probably do is, so section storage. I want to see what happens when I refresh this. So let's look at the route match, and I want to see if it has the section storage in it. Route match, route matches, info, parameters. So we do have the section storage. I'm tempted to just delete this because that could cause it to run like that could be causing problems as well. Like unknown problems. That's what I hate, is it's so much unknown. Like this code is just so icky. So if there's no value from, if there's nothing from the route match, we get it from the current product. So if we go into here, we go into the manage the default layout, we don't need the product type check. So that could be one line of code we can remove, but it doesn't help with the random images always being generated. Like what I wish we could do is but there's no way to really, there's no easy way to do this, or there's no easy way to fix core. Image item, because what I'd want to do is take the resolution, count images. What does it do here? So does it create, it creates the file, the destination, move, random image, destination min and max resolution. It creates a random sized image. Oh. Yeah, so it creates a random sized image. So we can't look it up. What I wanted to do is be able to like look it up. But this saves it at the destination no matter what. Like we can't be the only, like anything. Commerce isn't alone in generating this. Like why has no one else experienced that? And an image field, enable layout builder, take to layout builder page. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can fix this in commerce. We can, like, this issue will reduce it. I don't know how easily we can fix this in Drupal commerce. I'll say in commerce itself. The fixes in, well, improve additional runs, possibly. This is a Drupal core problem that anyone using nodes with image fields would also experience. So let's try that out. I guess that's the thing to reproduce is, let's go to structure, content types, files. Let's try that. So basic page, manage display. So we should be able to reproduce this with nodes. So manage display, use layout builder. Hey, thanks for hanging out and seeing Drupal Slack. Thanks for helping find that core issue. That was a huge help and showed like how guide a fix. So that is crucial. Thank you so much. And thanks for hanging out. Content types. I just realized there's no image field here. Let's go to manage fields, image. All right, manage display. And let's use layout builder. For instance, on a standard profile, I installed layout builder, enabled layout builder for article, which for article content type has an image. All right, so I'm just gonna verify that this is happening with nodes. If it's happening with nodes, then maybe we can punt it and say, sorry, that really sucks, but like there's only so much we can do. So manage layout. Add block, tags. There's the image. Okay, so there's the image. If I refresh, create a random image. If I refresh again, and if I were to even click configure and update and refresh, it only created one. So something. All right. Let's refresh. And if I refresh, oh, maybe because I have unsaved changes. Let me click discard changes and go back. Confirm. Manage layout. It's only doing one. All right, so maybe why? I don't understand how. In the context value. This may be a core problem in my manual testing. I only had one image be reproduced. So maybe there is something in node route context I can leverage. All right, let's figure this out. Why does it work so well for nodes? besides the fact that everything in core caters to nodes and there's usually no bugs there. All right, so this is passing. Let's see. I want to relate these two. Open Drupal Slack really quick into a side window because I have some things I don't exactly want everybody to see. Mainly because I want to try to ping this user. Say, hey, can you try to reproduce your crash from this issue on with this other fix? Think it might be more quote unquote solid and handles and fixes the context properly when entity param resolving occurs was written wrong eventually to work over a layout builder bug. All right. So I pinged them to see if they can test it because I think this is the proper fix, which cleans up the code a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to grok. So now I want to see what's inside of the node route context. So it's like super simple. And maybe that's the problem, is our other ones are just too complex. So if I refresh, it didn't even run. Oh, that's right, because it incorrectly handles layout builder, node context, build administrative section, layout, step over. So context, layout builder entity. So maybe, all right, so we have the node route context, which actually I don't even see in here. Oh, because it filters out things that don't have a context value. All right. That's right. I know why. So layout builder entity, I bet this is, so the problem we have is product variation is like a sub context that gets evaluated. So maybe we can still find a smart way to do this. So I've hit play. I don't want a breakpoint there. Let's breakpoint here. So context, we have current language, current user. The node context was empty. If we get the context during preview, we get display the sample entity generator, entity type, target, layout builder, sample entity generator. Oh, you know what? Temp store. So it sets it in a temp store. Hot diggity dog. All right. Here's an idea. All right. shoot. So we need this service, but we need to inject it conditionally into our variation context. All right, I have an idea. And we'll have to see if this works. So we'll do protected. What's the service name? I want to figure out where this was called. I want to do some copy paste. We're going to copy this. And we'll do so it could be null. And we're going to create a public function set sample entity generator, which requires sample entity generator interface. Sample entity generator. Oh, I'll be so excited if this fixes it. So this sample entity generator equals sample generate. So that could be null. So what we're doing here is set the sample entity generator. So the idea here is that we will use the sample entity generator instead of the entity storage. So value equals this sample entity generator. Get commerce product variation, product type, get variation type ID. I'll do the same here. So layout builder prevents creating duplicates. I'm gonna, yeah, I think, oh man, I hope this is it. And we can't use it anywhere else. So now we need to do it's not calls. 1 second. Let's look at JSON API.services. So we can do a call, set, and out builder sample entity generator. There's a way to do conditionals. And that's it. So you put the question mark after the @ symbol. So it's a conditional injection. So if layout builder doesn't exist, it won't crash. And I believe this will fix the issue wholesale. So now if we look at our files, this is our latest file here. Article, we don't want to, let's go back to edit layout for clothing products. Let's refresh the page. Oh, yep, it would help if I flush the caches so that way the service container is rebuilt. What would be neat is if this default section storage fired an event that let you add extra context. But that's also a lot of extra work for just supporting Drupal commerce. Not many other systems have like embedded entities in them. think I found a fix. Working on a shortly. Layout Builder has a service for generating sample entities. That's why Node, it's used in the preview what is it called? Default section storage. Let's copy the reference. It's used in blah, which is where the node entity or product entity is pulled. It's pulled from. This prevents a bunch of random generations. Product variations are worked in subcontext. If we change to that generation service, the same preview for a bundle will be reused and stop extra image generation. All right, I'm going to save. That we refreshed, we rebuilt the service container. I'm going to create an issue fork for this issue. And let's see if this all right, I'm gonna refresh. And if I refresh again, we should not, oh, that's amazing. So if I click add block, I'm gonna go to variation images. I'm gonna click add block. I'm gonna hit save. If I refresh, we only have one new image made. But if I go to manage default layout, if I were to open this in a new tab, we've got 860 WYD. All right, that's the fix. Get ready to add this in. So if I do git checkout 8.2.x, please, oh man. Let's see here. Let's use PHP Storm to our advantage. Let's shelve silently. Why didn't it? All right, let's do this. Show commands. Add the issue fork. And check out the branch. And how do you find your shelf? I never, oh, shelf. Let's see. Else if we're going to drop this, bring this over. Product variation storage. Nope. Nope. We want these values. All right. So now this isn't going to be perfect, but I think this is it. We do need a test. We should make a test that verifies multiple images aren't created. So let's do, first I'm just going to push it up. Let's push it up and see if they can test. Leverage the layout builder sample entity generator. Push. I'm gonna put some needs work, needs tests. We should add a test that verifies a variation type with image only generates one sample image despite visiting the manage default layout multiple times. Oh, all right. I think this will do it. Let's hit save. Put it as needs work because I want to tidy it up a bit more to add the test. Tagged it as needing tests. All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in for today's hack and play. I hope that was interesting, walking through some of these advanced, Drupal APIs and layout builder. If we can get these in for the next Drupal commerce release, I think that'll be a huge improvement for end users. So thanks for tuning in, and spend the end of your week, or if you're on the other side of the globe, the beginning of your weekend with me. Have a good one. Bye.